Val Kilmer almost never played Doc Holliday. The studio wanted someone cheaper, someone easier, someone who wouldn't demand 3 months to perfect a southern accent that no longer existed, but Kilmer pushed his way onto set anyway, and during the famous cup spinning scene, he improvised the entire flourish. The crew tried to stop him, but the camera kept rolling. That single moment of defiance captured everything about this production: chaotic, contentious, and somehow destined to become iconic. And that's just the beginning. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Tombstone, 1993. Number 1. The director who got fired. 1 month into shooting, director Kevin Jarrah was fired from his own movie. The man who wrote the script and fought for years to get this western made was suddenly gone without warning. According to multiple production accounts, Jarrah's vision was too sprawling, his pace too slow, and the studio panicked about the budget. George P. Cosmatos was brought in as the credited director, but here's what most people don't realize. Look at the lighting shifts between the first act and the rest of the film carefully. Early scenes have a warmer, more naturalistic glow throughout. Then everything changes dramatically. That visual inconsistency isn't a stylistic choice at all. It's the scar of a creative decapitation mid-production, and the chaos was only beginning. Number 2. Kilmer's method madness. Val Kilmer's dedication to Doc Holliday created tension that reportedly rippled through the entire crew for months. According to Bill Paxton, who played Morgan Earp, Kilmer refused to break character between takes under any circumstances. He stayed in that Georgia drawl, that consumptive hunch, for weeks on end. When directors gave notes, Kilmer responded as Holliday rather than himself. The crew called him difficult and worse, but watch his coughing fits on screen carefully, because those weren't scripted moments at all. Kilmer insisted on portraying tuberculosis with clinical accuracy, researching 19th century medical accounts of the disease's progression obsessively. He was impossible, one crew member reportedly said, but you couldn't look away from him. That impossibility became the film's soul and its greatest strength, and Kilmer's commitment extended to absolutely everything on set. Number 3. The real mustache mandate. Every single mustache in Tombstone is real without exception. No prosthetics were allowed, no spirit gum was permitted. Producer Andrew Vajna reportedly mandated that all principal actors grow their own facial hair before shooting began on location. Sam Elliott arrived with his signature walrus mustache, already legendary from the previous film, Roadhouse. Others weren't so lucky and struggled visibly. Watch the early scenes closely, then compare to the finale, and you'll notice something remarkable. You can literally track production time through mustache fullness across the runtime. Kurt Russell's gradually thickens as the movie progresses. Some supporting players barely made the minimum requirement by shooting's end. The DVD featurette confirms this detail, showing before and after photos that chart the facial hair journey. It's a small thing, but it grounds the entire film in tactile reality. And speaking of what was really happening on set during those long months, number 4, the ghost director. Kurt Russell was secretly directing the movie the entire time. In a 2006 True West magazine interview that shocked Western fans everywhere, Russell admitted he essentially took over after Jar's firing completely. Cosmatos received screen credit officially, but according to Russell, he made all the daily calls himself. Shot setups, actor positioning, pacing decisions, and blocking all came from Russell. George was a good soldier, Russell reportedly said, acknowledging that Cosmatos followed his lead without complaint. Watch how the camera work shifts. Noticeably after the first act ends, the framing becomes more confident, more propulsive, and more kinetic throughout. Other cast members, including Val Kilmer himself, have corroborated versions of this account over the years in various interviews. The Western you love was ghost directed by its star, and Russell was just getting started with his invisible control of the production. Number 5. The budget collapse. The budget collapsed mid-production without any warning to the cast. Synergy Pictures executives slashed funding after Jar's dismissal, forcing the surviving team to cut planned sequences that would have expanded Curly Bill's storyline and deepened the Cowboys' mythology significantly. According to production notes, entire action set pieces were abandoned overnight. Watch the second act carefully and you'll notice jarring transitions where scenes feel truncated. Moments that should breathe instead lurch forward abruptly. This wasn't artistic economy, it was triage under fire. Kevin Jarre's original screenplay ran over 180 pages, practically unfilmable. Editor Frank J. Uriost had to salvage what remained into something coherent. The cuts left narrative wounds that still confuse viewers today. Entire sequences filmed at old Tucson studios vanished. Characters appear and vanish without explanation. But somehow, the urgency those cuts created became the film's relentless rhythm. Number 6. The improvised catchphrase. I'm your Huckleberry. The line that defined Val Kilmer's entire career wasn't in Kevin Jarre's original screenplay at all. According to Kilmer's 2020 memoir, titled not coincidentally I'm Your Huckleberry, he discovered the phrase phrase during extensive period research on his own time. It was authentic 19th century slang, a way of saying, "I'm the man you're looking for." Kilmer improvised it on set without permission. Studio executives initially wanted it removed because it was too obscure, too strange for modern audiences to understand. But test audiences went absolutely wild for it. Watch Kilmer's face after he delivers the line and notice that smirk. That isn't acting at all. That's genuine satisfaction from an actor who knew he'd just created something permanent. The studio tried to cut history. The audience saved it, and the production secrets only get weirder from here. Number 7. When the Earps came to set, the Earp family actually showed up during production, unexpectedly. During filming, Wyatt Earp's actual descendants visited the old Tucson set, offering notes on historical accuracy. According to producer James Jacks, they brought family photographs with them. Some appear as props in saloon scenes throughout the film. Look at the framed images in the background of the Oriental Saloon carefully. Those aren't stock Western photos at all. They're genuine Earp family artifacts placed there with the family's blessing. But here's the tension that developed. The filmmakers listened to some suggestions and politely ignored others entirely. Drama required liberties with the truth. The real Wyatt Earp was reportedly colder, more calculating, and more morally ambiguous. The descendants wanted complexity. Hollywood wanted heroes. The photos stayed in the film. The nuance got simplified for mass appeal. Number 8. The desert nearly won. The Arizona desert nearly killed the cast during production that summer. Summer shooting in Tucson pushed temperatures past 110 degrees on a daily basis. According to crew accounts and actor interviews from that time, the brutal heat forced production into night shoots that disrupted everyone's schedules and health significantly. Michael Biehn, who played Johnny Ringo, was briefly hospitalized for heat-related illness during the shoot. Watch the evening scenes closely and you'll notice something. Even in supposedly cool night air, sweat glistens on every face visible. That's not makeup at all. That's survival instinct. Sam Elliott reportedly called the entire shoot brutal in later interviews about the production. Kurt Russell, pulling double duty as secret director and star, functioned on minimal sleep for weeks at a time. The Western mystique on screen was built on genuine physical suffering behind the camera. Number 9. The last minute outlaw. Powers Booth wasn't supposed to be Curly Bill at all originally. The original actor cast in the role dropped out during pre-production unexpectedly. Accounts vary on whether it was scheduling conflicts or creative differences with the production. Booth was brought in at the last possible moment to save the film. He had 3 days to prepare for everything. According to Booth's own interviews about the experience, he barely had time to learn his lines, let alone develop character nuance or backstory. So he improvised everything. Watch his physicality throughout the film, that swagger, that menacing playfulness, that unpredictable energy on screen. It's entirely his own invention, created under impossible pressure and time constraints. Early production stills show a different body language planned for Curly Bill entirely. Booth replaced it with something wilder and more dangerous. Desperation became inspiration under fire. Number 10. The authentic arsenal. Every gun in Tombstone is authentic and period accurate. A weapons consultant worked on set daily, ensuring that the Colts, Winchesters, and shotguns weren't just period appropriate, but often genuine antiques from collections. According to technical advisor interviews about the production, actors trained for weeks before shooting began. The gun handling you see on screen isn't Hollywood choreography at all. It's muscle memory drilled through endless repetition. Watch the OK Corral sequence and notice how fingers find triggers with uncomfortable ease throughout. Props weren't props in any traditional sense. They were historical objects with real weight and real histories behind them. Collectors have verified specific models, visible in close-up shots over the years. This obsession with firearm accuracy grounds the violence in material reality. When those guns fire, the authenticity isn't simulated at all. Now the contradictions begin. Number 11. One perfect take. Val Kilmer performed Doc Holliday's death scene in a single take without stopping. According to cinematographer William A. Fraker's commentary, Kilmer delivered the entire sequence perfectly. The trembling hands, the final words, the gradual stillness as life faded, all without stopping once. The crew reportedly watched in tears as it happened. Director Cosmatos, whether ghost directed or not, recognized perfection immediately and kept only that take for the final cut. Watch the scene closely and you'll notice there are no cuts at all. The camera holds on Kilmer's face as life drains away in real time. No second chances, no coverage, no safety shots were filmed. He gave us everything, Fraker said in the commentary years later. One take was all. they needed. 30 years later, it remains the emotional heart of the entire film, and it almost never existed at all. Number 12, the 180-page problem. Kevin Jaré's original screenplay was a completely different movie entirely. At over 180 pages, it would have run past 3 hours easily at minimum. According to production history accounts and analysis of early drafts, entire subplots were surgically removed without mercy. This included expanded storylines for Thomas Hayden Church's character and deeper exploration of Wyatt's psychological complexity. Watch the film for characters who appear without introduction and vanish without resolution anywhere. That's not sloppy storytelling at all. That's battlefield editing under impossible time pressure and Hollywood Pictures demands. Fans have debated for decades which missing scenes would have improved the film overall. Jaré's full vision will never exist on screen for audiences. What remains is a brilliant amputation, leaner, faster, and forever haunted by what was cut. Editor Roberto Silvi and the team say it's better this way. Others strongly disagree. Number 13, Billy Zane's missing story. Billy Zane's role was supposed to matter significantly to the plot. According to Zane's own interviews and deleted scene references, his character Mr. Fabian had a substantial subplot. This would have explained his presence and motivation in Tombstone throughout the story. Watch the final cut carefully. Zane appears abruptly, charms briefly, and nearly vanishes without any resolution whatsoever. Setup scenes establishing his arc were removed in editing to tighten the runtime. You can sense the absence every time he's on screen throughout the film. Why is this man here? What does he want? The answers existed in footage that never made the theatrical release, unfortunately. Zane reportedly understood the cuts were necessary for pacing purposes, but every time he appears on screen, you're watching the ghost of a larger story. A story that will never be told to audiences anywhere. Number 14, 30 seconds, 3 weeks. The OK Corral gunfight lasts roughly 30 seconds on screen total. It took 3 weeks to film completely. According to stunt coordinator interviews and the DVD featurette, the sequence required multiple camera setups and extensive safety protocols. Several minor stunt injuries occurred along the way during filming. Watch the bullet impacts carefully throughout the scene. Every one is a practical effect, no CGI was used, and each squib was timed to the microsecond. The chaos looks spontaneous and real, but choreography that precise demands repetition. Bodies had to memorize violence through endless takes. Historical accounts suggest the real gunfight lasted about 30 seconds too. The filmmakers matched history's pace while manufacturing every millisecond of it through painstaking repetition. Authenticity, it turns out, requires exhaustive fabrication behind the scenes. And the biggest secrets are still coming up. Number 15, the love interest who became essential. Dana Delaney's Josephine Marcus was nearly a footnote in the original script. According to Delaney's interviews and script comparisons, the original screenplay gave me minimal presence. She was a love interest sketched rather than developed with any real depth, but during production, her chemistry with Kurt Russell changed the math entirely. Scenes were rewritten on the fly, screen time was expanded, and Josephine became central to Wyatt's emotional arc. Watch the second half of the film carefully. Delaney's presence grows noticeably compared to early scenes throughout. That wasn't the plan at all. That was the set recognizing something the script had missed entirely. They gave me more to do. Delaney recalled in interviews about the experience. On set, Alchemy rewrote the character in real time as cameras rolled. The actress made herself essential through sheer presence and talent. Number 16, the battle for the ending. Hollywood Pictures wanted a completely different ending for the film. According to producer Sean Daniel, executives pushed for something cleaner and happier. They wanted Wyatt riding into the sunset with unambiguous triumph and romantic resolution. The filmmakers absolutely refused to compromise. Watch the final sequence carefully and notice something. There's melancholy beneath the resolution that shouldn't be there at all. Doc Holliday's death lingers in every frame throughout. The grave marker holds the screen longer than comfort allows. That visual insistence and refusal to look away from loss was a battle won. Studio notes demanded uplift and happiness. The executives wanted audiences leaving happy and satisfied. Cinematographer William A. Fraker and the team wanted them leaving haunted instead. Look at that final shot of the grave. It wasn't in the original plan at all. Someone fought hard for that sadness. Number 17, racing Kevin Costner. Tombstone was racing a ghost the entire time. Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp was in production simultaneously at another studio. It was a longer, more expensive, more prestigious telling of the same story with bigger stars. According to trade publications from 1993, both studios knew only one Western would survive at the box office. Tombstone rushed to theaters first in December 1993. Wyatt Earp arrived 6 months later and dramatically underperformed with audiences. Watch Tombstone's marketing materials from that era carefully. Speed was the selling point throughout the campaign. They weren't just making a movie, they were winning a war against a competitor. The scrap scrappy, troubled production beat the prestige picture through sheer velocity. Box office records confirmed it clearly. Sometimes chaos moves faster than careful planning ever can. Tombstone understood this instinctively. Costner never saw it coming. Number 18. The practical skull effect. Johnny Ringo's death required a skull trick that still impresses today. When Doc Holliday's bullet strikes Ringo's forehead, the effect is brutally convincing. A perfect permanent hole appearing instantaneously on screen. According to makeup department interviews, the effect was entirely practical. An air bladder was hidden beneath prosthetics, triggered at the exact moment of the gunshot sound effect. Watch the scene in slow motion if you can manage it. There's no digital enhancement whatsoever in the shot. The prosthetic ruptures on cue, revealing painted bone beneath the surface. Michael Biehn held absolutely still while the mechanism fired inches from his actual face. Pause at the moment of impact and look closely. That's trust and craftsmanship under pressure. 1993, practical effects outperforming modern CGI decades later. The bullet hole was earned through old school technique and skill. Number 19. The Latin Scholars. The Latin exchange between Doc and Ringo is historically accurate throughout. According to dialect coach Carla Meyer and Kilmer's own interviews, both actors learned proper classical pronunciation. A university professor worked with them before shooting their confrontation scene at the Birdcage Theater. Watch their lip movements during the exchange closely. They're not approximating sounds or faking it at all. They're speaking Latin correctly and precisely. The phrases themselves are challenges and insults from antiquity. They were researched for period authenticity and grammatical accuracy. Two gunslingers quoting dead Romans in an Arizona saloon. It sounds absurd until you remember something important. Educated men of that era genuinely did this regularly as a display of learning. The film wasn't inventing pretension for dramatic effect at all. It was documenting real 19th century masculine posturing. Val Kilmer and Michael Biehn committed fully to the authenticity. Number 20. The improvised insult. "You're no daisy." Val Kilmer improvised the line entirely, and scholars have debated its meaning for 3 decades now. According to Kilmer's research notes and period slang documentation, daisy in the 19th century vernacular meant something special. It meant something worthwhile, something exceptional in that era. Telling a dying man he's no daisy is telling him he was never anything at all. Watch Kilmer's expression as he delivers it carefully. His face shifts from satisfaction to something harder and more complex. That's not scripted emotion at all. That's an actor discovering meaning in real time while the camera rolls. The line became one of the film's most quoted moments, and Kilmer found it himself. Through research and instinct, he created immortality. Improvisation became legend. Look at his eyes in that moment. He knew exactly what he'd done. The film you've watched dozens of times was made by a ghost director working with a fired writer's script. It starred actors who reportedly clashed constantly throughout production. It was shot in heat that hospitalized crew members regularly. It was edited from a 180-page screenplay slashed to fragments. It was racing a competitor that should have destroyed it at the box office. And it was held together by improvisations that the studio tried desperately to cut. Every piece of this production was wrong. And somehow, 30 years later, Tombstone remains the definitive modern Western. Rewatch the cup-spinning scene one more time. Watch Kilmer's hands. That's not acting. That's a man who practiced for months, improvising cinema history in real time while chaos burned around him. The chaos made it timeless. Now you'll never see it the same way again.